No? Hi everyone, and
Hello.
welcome back to the live YouTube format of the PARSIQ AMA. And today we have PARSIQ's Chief Operations Officer Rong Kai on live on our YouTube channel. Hi Rong Kai.
Hi, Tom. Hi, everyone.
So Rong Kai joined in the summer, and since September he's been full-time COO. He has a very impressive background. He's been working at Binance, and he's been part of the Singapore police force before. Rong Kai, maybe you can give a brief intro to those who don't know you.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Rong Kai. I'm based in Singapore, so it's in the evening for me now. I'm happy to join this AMA today. I'm very happy to share really like some of the things that we've been pushing through uh, uh, during this period when I joined as COO. There's been so many changes. There's been a lot of things that's in the works, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Yeah, so today's questions, I hope you'll mostly direct to Rong Kai because it's not often he can join us on these AMAs. I know he pops in the community. So yeah, I'll try picking the questions more directed to him, and the others I'll try to answer myself, while meanwhile giving some updates on the projects and our initiatives and their status in general. So before we start with the community questions, maybe I have a question. So why PARSIQ? Why did you choose PARSIQ to join?
Yeah. So quite a story for me in a sense. When I was in Binance, I was actually part of the team that actually invested in PARSIQ as part of the BSC accelerator fund, and um, I worked quite closely with Tom. Anatoly back then, understanding a use case, understanding what kind of technology to bring to Binance Smart Chain, and um, back then in September 2020, slightly more than a year ago, Binance Smart Chain was like bare, it was really empty. I mean, there was a few D5 um, that's coming up, DEXs, etc. But we wanted to bring, where I was in Binance, actually, we wanted to bring in fundamental building blocks for the blockchain that other companies can build on. And PARSIQ was a really, really interesting project that we were looking at, reverse Oracle, etc., real time. And that was something that we really needed because we knew that back then that's something that other companies needed. So when I left Binance for personal reasons, I actually had to help out the family business, so I left Binance because of that. I actually dropped Tom a message as well. I told him that I need to settle family things, but after that, I'm actually open. I'm available in the job market, and Tom was. I'm actually extremely grateful to be able to join the PASIC team.
Thanks, Rankai. I mean, we're super happy to have you on board. I mean, we believe you're already adding huge value and streamlining the operations, helping us grow, scale, and expand. So exciting times ahead. And let's take a look. Some questions have come in. So Binance is apparently launching another 1 billion fund to accelerate blockchain adoption. Has PARSIQ been contacted for eligibility? I don't know if that's the same fund, accelerated fund, the 100 million one, or it's some new initiative. I don't know, Rankai. Do you have any knowledge?
Uh, this is something that I really just saw today or the day before yesterday. So, as far as I understand from my contacts in Binance, I'm still targeting Binance Smart Chain, but I mean mainly Binance Smart Chain, but they're really opening up the field as well to a lot of different. Uh, aspects of blockchain adoption, and they have like 4 different categories. I wouldn't go into too much details about it. I would say that I don't think the doors close on us, or in a certain sense, until we really speak to them. How are they envisioning like giving out this fund? What are they actually targeting? That's something that we can definitely reach out to for on Binance side, and we are actually still in very close contact with the team that invested in PARSIQ. I mean that there's like the usual human resource flow as well. People move in and out of teams, but we are still in close contact with the team that actually are dealing with this.
Yeah, absolutely. We're still in good relationship with the Binance Smart Chain and Binance X teams, and planning some things to do jointly with them. So definitely, yeah, looking forward to working more closely with the BSC ecosystem. Can you explain technically why other projects require PRQ tokens in order to power their own instance of IQ protocol? Yeah, I'll answer this one. So for a lot of projects, they have to implement subscriptions or some kind of access rights to products, services, features, or content, anything. And for them to be able to track the eligibility of the person who rented tokens, to automate the open access for them, they will use the PARSIQ platform. So they don't have to use it, but so far we haven't seen many cases where it just doesn't make sense for them to not use it. So the vast majority of projects deploying renting pools on the IQ protocol will also be using the PARSIQ platform, and thus will also be using the PARSIQ token, whether holding it or renting it. Oh, a lot of questions came in. So since we're on the topic of the IQ protocol, Mysterium will be putting it on Polygon. I guess PARSIQ will have to build the balancing between the pools at some point, but I imagine this will be a standalone pool to begin with. Yes, so Mysterium wants to launch on Polygon. They will have a single pool on Polygon right now. So there's no balancing really needed at this point. And a number of other projects who have already pretty much committed also want to do this on Polygon. So that sort of brings us to a question of the prioritization of different types of chains that PARSIQ supports and monitors. And there are so many, the multi-chain reality, it's becoming a reality. And a lot of tokens, a lot of assets exist on multiple chains. Some are migrating. Trends change. And Rong Kai, do you have any opinions on the prioritization of supporting these chains, whether we should more focus on vertical integrations or horizontal?
Yeah, I'm happy to add to this. So actually, this is a topic that has been discussed quite a few times within the company. I think ideally, I mean, in a very ideal world where you have unlimited resources, you want to be on all chains, and that's something that no matter the size of the ecosystem there, it makes sense to be everywhere. Of course, in the reality, we have limited resources. We do have to prioritize, and therefore it's a stretch as well between current needs, current priorities versus a bit more midterm as well. So one common issue is, for example, you decide to build on a chain that's very popular now, but there is always that possibility that, I mean, it depends on the ecosystem, and it depends on how it grows, it depends on technical aspects of it as well. But what happens if you put in quite a lot of resources integrating, and then 1 year down the road, it becomes not popular anymore for whatever reason? So we do have to prioritize both the immediate need versus the medium-term need. I would say that in the long term, we will likely be in as many chains as we can. but prioritization will always be this struggle between immediate needs, which actually includes whether we have existing clients talking to us and say that I'm willing to pay you, but I need you to be on this chain. And that, of course, that will come into play as well. I think what Tom was asking about, was saying about to integrate vertically as deep as we can, or broadly across chains. One thing we were thinking of course, is Ethereum layer 2. And there's always a lot of questions. Which one should we go for? Polygon has an advantage in that sense. They're one of the earlier popular ones, and I think a lot in terms of total value locked, in terms of the number of exciting things that's happening on it right now, is pretty attractive. I think it's something that we are definitely already looking at. There's a lot of things that's coming our way in that front. But at the same time, we are not neglecting the other layer 2s as well. That happens at the same time as us expanding our resources as well. So ideally, you want to do things faster. You want to integrate faster. You want to bring in more developers, more resources, more product management talents to be able to do things concurrently. And all this takes time, and we do want to do it as fast as we can without compromising on the quality of the integration of the tech products that whatever we are doing. So that's also something that I think the community can look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have, the integration pipeline for layer 1 and layer 2 blockchains is quite extensive, and we definitely have our own data, which has been requested more, and which makes sense more based on growth rate and TVL growth rate on those chains. But still would like to know the community's opinion. So today we'll be posting a poll of 4 or 5 chains that are on the table right now. So we will likely eventually integrate most of them, but which should we integrate first? So I think Ross and the team will be posting the poll in the PARSIQ social soon enough. And on that note, we have a question about Polkadot and parachains. So PARSIQ already supports the monitoring of the Polkadot relay chain. So you can monitor the movement of dots, staking events, and everything that's happening there. And we are in contact with at least 3 likely parachain candidates who all really want this integration to happen. And we will at some point likely build a framework how to add support to all kinds of substrate-based chains. So that includes all parachains. And it will be much easier because who knows, maybe in the future there will be dozens and dozens of parachains that have adoption. Aave had liquidity problems that got solved after listing on Binance. How will PARSIQ solve its liquidity problems without a tier 1 exchange listing? Well, we can try to solve it in a number of ways. We can list on more exchanges. We can do more DEXs on various chains and bridges to those chains. Or we can simply, or one way to solve it is just list on a tier 1 exchange, right? So in my mind, this is just a matter of time. As we show progress, we go through the whole process that the listing teams require, and in my mind, it's just a matter of time. It can happen very soon. It can happen in a little while. We don't know the exact time ranges, but I am 100% sure it will happen. And maybe, Rong Kai, I don't know, you can give general overview of Binance's listing process. I mean, CZ wrote a blog post about it, but it's not as easy as people think. I know they see these GameFi company projects being listed quite fast, and meme coins listed quite fast. But this has a reason, right? So because they have generated a lot of hype, a lot of volume, and obviously they have priority in listing. That's what I think, at least.
Yeah. mean, in my time with Binance, CZ has been pretty open about it. He posted about it on blog as well, and it's not just him. I think it's relatively pervasive across the entire industry. So when we talk to exchanges, when we talk about listing, usually we look out for quite a few things, of course, like what's the trading volume, what's the kind of underlying hype or technology or utility of the token. I think it's no longer like the ICO days where any other tokens can be listed. Of course, at a fee in a sense, usually the exchange takes a cut out of the token. But the catch back then is a lot of tokens failed, and the reputation of the exchange takes a hit. So now those who are tier ones and even tier two exchanges, they are more wary about listing of tokens. They ask for there's a lot of negotiations in terms of what's the fees involved or what's the catch involved for the exchanges. Different exchanges, of course, they have different standards, but by and large, they're really looking out for all these kind of things, especially hype. The best way to list on the exchange will always be you never even talk to the will always be the situation where you never even talk to the exchange, but because the trading volumes are so high, they list you without even talking to you. That's like it's sort of like a holy grail in a sense, for any projects that's working with tokens, with prices. The underlying fundamentals has to be there, of course. Generating hype, there's a lot of ways to go about doing it, but hype dies off if we do not have the fundamentals, and that's something that in terms of fundamentals, there's something that PARSIQ does very well. In terms of the other stuff, in terms of marketing, in terms of hype, I mentioned about it in the community chats before that it's something in the works. There's something that we are working on, that we are identifying what could be done better. There is always that aspect where fundamentally our business is B2B and B2 developer in that sense, but the B2 community, as in business, as in PARSIQ to community aspect, is something that we are going to pour in more resources into as well. Working together with the community, understanding their standpoint, getting inputs, getting ideas, because why think only within the dozens of people in the company when you can reach out to the community, which is thousands strong, and really hear about the things. In a situation like that, of course, there will be a lot of noise, there'll be a lot of different opinions, but there will always be gems involved in those feedback that we get from the community. And that's something that we want. There will always be blind spots that we don't see, especially when we are doing in the day-to-day grind, and that's going to help us to really push PRQ as a token. And as trading volumes go up, I don't see this as a big issue in a sense. And even right now, I don't see like a big liquidity problem in a sense. Some the centralized exchanges that we're listed on, KuCoin. KuCoin is an exchange that seems to, like, in terms of trading volume, is shot up. Exit exchange, it shot up quite high in the rankings. I was quite surprised in the past few months, but that's something that they have it going for them, and that's something that works to our advantage as well. It's always a partnership that we work together with exchanges, and as we talk to different exchanges, they all have their criteria in that sense, but the ideas are all the same.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rong Kai. I think that's a good overview of and so also wanted to say that some US based or US registered exchanges where we applied for listing and were in contact for listing, for them we've made the tweaks in governance which have now been given to auditors, and they will update the audit report, which will be sent back to the exchanges, and the listing process will resume. No, listing review. So good news on that front. Let's see. Any news in relation to NFTs or updates on integrations for Elrond? Yes, on both, especially yes to the first one. We are hard at work for the NFT renting version of the IQ protocol. We have soft commits from a number of play-to-earn games, as well as NFT marketplaces and game guilds who want to integrate that protocol. And we are having some very, very nice integrations, NFT-related integrations on the PARSIQ platform side. So pretty soon. So keep an eye open on the announcements. For Rong Kai, what do you believe has been your biggest influence or change to the PARSIQ since starting full-time role?
Wow, I've done a lot. But I guess rather than saying like some the various work streams, the various kind of things that I've been pushing, I guess the biggest things that really happens are pulling the different teams together, um, getting the teams to talk. They have actually been talking quite a bit, but when I came in, I worked together with everyone, and I put in some form of structure in where we try to get some form of outcome out of the various meetings that we have, some form of accountability, some form of cross team, basically encouraging cross team collaborations. And I think we, at least on my end, I'm starting to see dividends. Things are moving really quickly now. Things are clearer as well for everyone. I think the chance of miscommunications have dropped drastically. The way I see it, because I think week in week out, we probably in the past we used to have less meetings as well. I'm someone that doesn't like meetings, personally. And when I go into a meeting, I want to make sure that everyone's time are not wasted. Basically, you come in with an objective, you leave it knowing what's going to happen, what will happen, who's going to do what. And that's the kind of structure that I put in. Now I'm extremely grateful to PARSIQ colleagues that they actually work together with me to make all of this happen. Like none of what I said would have worked if no one really believed in it as well, or no one wanted to do it. I can't force them. So that's something that I thought was the biggest change that I put to PARSIQ since starting full time. There's a lot of other things, work streams, as a lot of fun things coming as well. But I'll leave it to, if there's specific questions, I probably can allude to those. But definitely the details will come out in official announcements.
Good answer. Thanks, Okay. Let's get on to the next question. How and will this 1 billion Binance funding, specifically 50% funding NFT trend, affect NFT marketplace of PARSIQ? I assume you mean the IQ protocol NFT renting marketplace. So I don't see how it can be anything other than positive, because right now the fungible utility token market size is far bigger than the NFT market size, and the TVL will obviously be bigger there. But if the NFT market starts growing exponentially as we expect it to, that means more opportunities for IQ protocol and more TVL for IQ protocol NFT marketplace.
Just to add to this, and back when I was in Binance, when in terms of the accelerator fund, I can't speak for this 1 billion Binance funding, by the way, because they may have different criteria, they may be looking at different things, and it's a different team in that sense as well. But back then, when we were looking at it, it's possible for a team to get two different kind of fundings, because the team actually has two different products. Because when back then we were doing funding, it was relatively specific. Like the funding was for a certain purpose with certain clear like objectives, deadlines, etc. Put in place into the contract that we actually signed, the agreement that we signed. So that's something that I think alluding back to the previous question, I don't see why not that PARSIQ will not just benefit from this overall trend. We can definitely reach out to Binance for funding.
So another question for you, Rong Kai. What are the top challenges operations-wise in PARSIQ you see and would like to solve?
Okay. So I came in and hopefully I've solved quite a few things. Though right now, what I can say that the stuff that I'm working on right now are really expansions of the teams. So we want to do a lot of things. When I came in, I actually helped Tom to paint a strategic roadmap. Um, Came out with a clearer vision and the mission statement. It's actually on our website, by the way. If you go to PARSIQ, our main website, you go to About Us, you actually can see it there, spelled out in words. What's the mission? What's the vision? I wanted that to be spelled out as concisely as I could. Ideally, it'd be super short. That's something that I always share with them as well. As you guys know, my background, I was in the Singapore Police Force, and the mission of Singapore Police Force was just 5 words: prevent, deter, and detect crime. So that's just 5 words. And the idea of a mission is that even if you have an officer, for some reason, maybe he hit his head or something, but he forgot what he's supposed to do. But if he remembers in the mission, he knows what by and large, it guides his or her actions. Then when he or she is on duty, it's the same for us as well. If we have a clear mission and we have a clear vision, we can face a lot of problems, but we know the direction we're going towards. We know what inherently fits the company's vision and mission, and this is what we're going to do, or what seems to be good, but if you look at it and it doesn't really fit the vision and mission, so should we do it? Then there's something that helps guide that kind of decision making. I painted that, and then there is that roadmap that we want to fill in, and it's really about knowing where we are, knowing where we are going, and then filling in the pieces along the way as we step our way towards that vision we want it to be. So that has been painted out. Internally, it's a living document. It's a work in progress. Eventually we may find that there's new things we need to do, and we go about and put resources in to do it. But right now, I think in terms of challenges wise, definitely we are expanding in order to meet those things that we really wanted to do. There's a lot of things that I think in terms of expansion for the products, there's product roadmap, etc. We'll be sharing with the community, but it's not just the product. There are basically a lot of things that the entire company needs to come in and help out as well. When a new product comes out, sales needs to be able to sell it. Marketing needs to be able to prepare beforehand, and then as the product is ready, we have a launch date, and as we launch it, how do we launch it, on what platform, what's the messaging, how is it going to be branded, how's the graphics like. So our graphic designer will be looking at that even beforehand. All of this must come into place. To me, as a COO, when I come in, it's always about what can be done better. Perhaps something we have already done very well, but it's always looking at it and saying that the next time round, are there things that can even be better? Are there things that may not be very optimal now? How do I oil this machine? And that's the, to me, that's the top challenges right now that we are working on, and things have improved a lot. It's about being ready as the product comes to the forth, and getting the community mobilized, getting the community excited about things, the timing of certain things as well. Do we give the news too early? Did we give it too late? That's some of the things that we are also looking back at past experiences from other places. Share some of the stuff that we did that I did in Binance, and right now these are some of the things that I'm solving. And hopefully my answer is good enough for this question.
Yeah, I think it sure is. Thanks, okay. I will, since we have limited time left, I won't take all the questions, so do not be offended if your question wasn't wasn't covered here, but we have around 15 to 20 minutes left, so I will. We don't have the time to take them all. I will try to cover the others on Telegram at some point. So is Evan Cheng still an advisor? Yes, Evan Cheng is still an investor and advisor, and he will be on board long term. When will PRQ payments for IQ interest cease and other tokens coins start? So with you will still receive interest for staking in PRQ, but we will add the option of you being able to pay the rental fees or the subscription fees in other assets and integrate a DEX, for example, Pancake Swap, that would swap them to PRQ, so that PARSIQ platform users can pay in different types of assets, while the stakers will get in the same asset they're staking. When IQ token launches, so this depends, because we are not on a tight schedule or anything. It's more about if you think about the big DeFi protocols, Uniswap, Compound, DYDX, they launched the token after they actually showed some progress. They captured some value. So they had users, they had TVL, they had adoption. And this is the goal here. So obviously we want to get more exposure for the protocol. We hope the community will help us with this, and we will do what we can ourselves to show some great progress with the TVL, with the number of users, and to capture value before actually launching it. We hope to do it in the first half of next year, so Q1, Q2. But like I said, it all depends on our work and our work together with the community. How did PARSIQ perform at token 2049? Performed very well. Not everyone could come because of the COVID restrictions, but there were a lot of great conversations, a lot of great leads to follow up on, a lot of potential clients, partners, and it was really good. Right now, visiting these high-profile events and being seen, it's a good way to generate exposure and awareness. Are we attending any other events? Yes, we have a pipeline of events. Most importantly, Solana Breakpoint in Lisbon, where I am a speaker, along with many other interesting speakers like Anatoly, the CEO of Solana, Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX and Alameda, and other people. And PARSIQ is also hosting a pre-event for this conference, so definitely expect to have a lot of traction there. Hello, Rong Kai. In your experience, what are the most important areas in which PARSIQ has to improve? And what is the main threat in PARSIQ's future? I know you already covered a lot of this, but maybe just in a few words.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say like we are not doing it right now. In fact, there's something that we are doing, but there's two things that we have been emphasizing. I think the first one is that we want the things that we do to have network effects. So basically, IQ Protocol feeds to the mainline platform, feeds back the other way. If there's new things that we are doing, it should be where the sum is greater than its parts. And the second thing that we are working on and we're constantly improving is basically that we are our best customer. So we're even seeing it on IQ Protocol, like PRQ is there as number one. And I think that's something that that will be something that it will be a hallmark of PARSIQ as we go along. As for the threat to PARSIQ's future, I wouldn't say threat per se, but I would say that there are a lot of like competitors or other similar companies with similar products, etc. They will have great tech. We will have great tech. The whole idea is get the message across that it's similar to what Binance is doing as well. Like they always say that they're not competing with other people. They just do things as that they think they need to do. I think that's something that we need to maintain our course as well. We don't lose sight of it. We just do it. We make sure that other people know we are doing great things, and I think then PARSIQ's future will be bright.
Next question: are there any plans to get listed on Solanas DEX? We've had multiple great calls with Radium and been in contact with Bonfida. So it's we will list on a Solana DEX. It's not a huge priority, and it's actually not that difficult to do. But there's just one issue that if we go there and bridge to Solana without the governance features, won't it defeat the purpose of the governance features on ETH and BSC? So that's and if we wish to implement the governance features on Solana before bridging there, then I guess yeah, that's something we have to sort out before listing. But I don't see why not. We already have everything set for it, and we will list at some point. Just no hard dates. To Rong Kai, what do you see are the top potential opportunities for PARSIQ in Asia?
Wow. Asia is a huge place, and it has, I think, majority of the world's population. But I think that's probably where this question comes in. I think Asia is very diverse, and we are blockchain agnostic. So that's where, because Asia is diverse, it's not unified. It's there's a lot of competing needs and wants. That's where there's a lot of untapped markets that we can go into, untapped chains, untapped companies that's really looking for use cases and us helping them in it. I think that's the first one, and probably the second one I think is in terms of investment, because I think in terms of funding, in terms of growth, Asia is extremely exciting. I see, even back when I was in Binance, I think usership in Southeast Asia has been going up. People, the general population in Asia is very young, and by that I really mean like a lot of Southeast Asia, large part of Middle East. I mean, in Middle East technically is on Asia continent as well. South Asia. East Asia, of course, they do face a slightly aging population, but the populations over there are huge. There's a lot of money, there's capital that's untapped over there, and they are constantly looking for exciting new projects. It's a lot about talking to them, letting them understand what we do, showing that we are very unique, not just technologies and use cases, but also a vibrant community. And I think that is the top potential opportunities that we have in Asia.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Asia is a big market. With the overall TVL of IQ Protocol will be shared across chains, or will each chain has their own pools? How does PARSIQ plan to make this work? Yeah, well, I think at first they will have their own pools. Obviously, a project can display a combined TVL on those different pools that exist on different chains for their token, but there will be separate smart contracts on different chains, so there are separate pools. Now, we do recommend to projects to pick one chain for deploying the renting pool, whether it's Polygon or BSC, just easier like this. I think the friction with bridging, it will become non-existent, and they can launch a multiple if they want to, but picking one at first is just a better approach. Rong Kai, what challenges are there in getting the retail crowd involved and interested in using PARSIQ's monitoring tools, and thereby increasing the buying pressure that comes from them using it?
Right. Actually, that's something that I think us in PARSIQ have been discussing as well. But basically, the retail crowd, they by and large, is the technology is pretty complicated sometimes. And I think the vast majority of the retail crowd actually they may not even want to know about the technologies. It's not their interest. They are not the kind that may just read publications after publications. I think for crypto natives or the more traditional crypto natives, there's a lot of interest in the technology itself. But I think with the bull market since last year, there's a huge influx of new capital, new people. They're just here for the ride. Of course, everyone is here to make money, invest in good projects, rightly so. But then the idea is basically you need to talk their language. You need to catch their attention very quickly. It comes a lot from like community engagement kind of strategy. It comes a lot from marketing, of course. It comes a lot from not just making the business solid with good fundamentals, good sales to between our core business, but it's also a lot about timing, a lot about positioning your pitch and being in the limelight at the right time. And I think increasing buying pressure from them in terms of using it. The reality is that most retail crowd they may try out our monitoring tools. The idea of them buying PRQ and in terms of creating a huge buying pressure into becoming paying customer, at the end of the day, PARSIQ is still more suitable in terms of business to business or business to developers. So then there are other things that we are working on in terms from the tokenomics point of view to create buying pressure. But the retail crowd moves when there is real interest, real use cases, big names, and the way you market it to them. So that's to me that's the challenges, and that is where we can increase the buying pressure. They are not going to buy and for example use it on our platform. The majority of them are going to buy and they just hold it and they stake it, for example, and we want them to stake it on IQ Protocol, and that is basically the idea that we need to push it to them, and getting them excited about what all of this means.
Yeah, exactly. And PARSIQ does have it's not a huge community, but it's a decently big and very hardcore community of holders and believers. And the fact that 1/3 of the circulating supply is in the IQ protocol, that says a lot. And especially if you consider that there are like other players who just will not stake, like market makers and such. So we can consider that at least like half of the active circulating supply is likely in the IQ protocol. Will IQ token be deflationary? We're finalizing the tokenomics model, working hard at it. It's going to be really, really interesting. And it will be designed to accrue maximum value. Is there a plan to make PARSIQ more like AWS, where even big customers have enough to ideally self-serve without reaching out to PARSIQ? Short answer, yes. that's the idea. Now, long answer, yeah, we'll probably need Anatoly here to share his vision how PARSIQ could be the AWS for any blockchain activity or events that anyone can connect to and freely use, embedded with the PARSIQL language that could be used to process all those events and all that data. Rong Kai, what's your take?
Yeah, I think it alludes back to us being our best customer. So when AWS first came out, they developed it because they realized that they have a need for it. Amazon, at the end of the day, was first and foremost, and it's still first and foremost an e-commerce company. They realized they needed it, and they realized that it's better for them to build it themselves, which basically means they were the first customer that they have, and we are doing things where it makes sense for us to do it because we are our best customer, and it builds from there, and that's something that we want to do it as well. It's the same philosophy, and there's a lot of things that's going to come our way as well, and what we're building in terms of where it's not where of course big customers can self-serve, anyone can do it as well on the platform, and I mean, just watch this space. I think there's quite a lot of things that's going to come.
Let's see. Rong Kai, one for you again. What do you think about the current PARSIQ team, including the advisors? Do you think it's too small, or are you happy with the current team size? And are the advisors engaged enough?
In terms of the team size, we are expanding. I think I mentioned about it. So we are hiring, and it's not like we hire for like, oh, we just need more hands on deck, etc. It's very targeted. It's with a plan in mind. We hire for this position because we need this position to do something, and that is something that we are doing right now. We are accelerating it. Even I think the community will start to see more and more announcements in terms of people who hire on the various different teams with various different job scopes, portfolios, and that's something that I'm excited about. I think in terms of advisors, definitely, I think they are engaged, and in terms they're providing very good advice to us at a very high level from all the various different angles, because they have their own expertise and their own life careers that they went through, their own experiences. The great thing about them is that as advisors, they have a stake in the company in various different ways, and they do want to see PARSIQ succeed as well. And their vast experiences are what we are tapping on in terms of the various kind of things we want to do. So yeah, I think not sure if Tom wish to share more about the advisors as well, but he's been talking to them. They're sharing not just on the operational aspects of PARSIQ, but there's a lot of things that they're sharing as well, investments, etc. So yeah, I think that's my honest viewpoint.
Yeah. And in terms of the advisors, I mean, advisors are different, and arrangements with them are different. Some are advised at a very high level. Some are very hands-on and active. It depends. But I can tell you that we have advisors who were much more valuable to the team than, for example, some investors, right? So it's all a matter of yeah, it varies, but I'm very happy with the advisors. Ncase is coming out next year. Like I said on previous AMAs, this year we'll focus on some other stuff like IQ and the PARSIQ platform. And yeah, the Ncase technology will be utilized in reverse triggers. So it's coming next year. Will IQ token be on Binance launchpad? Nice question. Very nice. We'll see. What traditional corporations have been enlisted as clients that you can share? I don't know if you mean PARSIQ or the IQ protocol. So for PARSIQ, like I said, we've been having conversations for quite a while with traditional corporations or traditional companies, meaning non-crypto projects. And I'm pretty sure it's just a matter of time when the adoption rate goes there, where they will need something that would connect decentralized networks to their legacy systems, to their centralized systems. So, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. I can share more as soon as we sign one of them. And right now, it's all either soft commitments or talks or testing or these types of discussions. For IQ protocol, we Well, obviously, we have a number of projects who want to use it for their own token, projects with existing tokens, established projects, projects who are about to launch token, and also we have on board a few companies which are not crypto companies. One is a SaaS, software as a service company. Another one is an app, and who are extremely interested in tokenizing their business or their product by using the IQ protocol. So definitely exciting stuff. Rong Kai, do you speak Chinese? If so, would you be willing to engage in an AMA with the Chinese PARSIQ community?
Yes, yes. I speak Chinese, and definitely I'll be happy to do AMA in Chinese. I mean, to my version of Chinese Mandarin, of course. I mean, that's the language that's taught in Singapore. I speak three languages: English, Chinese, and Japanese. Yeah, I'm happy to do it in Chinese.
I think we should do it at some point. Let's see. Why can't Binance look at TVL instead of PRQ trading volume, which is a chicken and egg problem? I agree. Once listed on Binance, the trading volume will increase as fundamentals are strong. Absolutely, I agree with this completely. And personally, I think they are looking at the TVL. So let's give it time and meanwhile show some progress. With PRQ tokens that can be borrowed or rented, does it make PRQ a security token? Not really. I mean, you can borrow or you can use different types of assets as collateral. They doesn't make them a security. I mean, from a strictly legal standpoint, PRQ is a pure utility token. The power token, the PPRQ that you borrow, is a pure utility token. The only thing that might be potentially theoretically considered something like with similar traits to a security by the US SEC is the IPRQ, which is the interest-bearing LP token that you get when staking. But by the same logic, all the LP tokens are securities then. The Uniswap LP tokens, the Balancer LP tokens, and everything else. So I don't think it's an issue right now. Let's see. Hi, Rong Kai. How effective is gathering a bunch of top influencers and doing a tech showdown of PARSIQ's great tech solutions?
Wow. I think influencers definitely is an angle that we're engaging. In terms of asking them to do what, that is another question. A tech showdown will be interesting, but when we do that, we need to ask ourselves, who's the target audience? Who are we trying to reach out to? So that would be very useful if we are doing something with developers. Say we do it for a hackathon, or we listed some bounties, and we need to generate some interest, some hype amongst that community. And we do like a great tech solutions, or then there's a certain kind of influencers we want to get engaged. But if we want to do it for hype, for example, to get people to just know PRQ, just know what's PARSIQ, it's a different bunch of influencers we want to talk to. It's a completely different kind of marketing strategy you want to talk to as well.
Thanks, Rong Kai, and thanks for joining. I think this is it for the community questions. I know I skipped a bunch. I'm going to try to follow up on them in Telegram and then forward some to Rong Kai as well if he has time. And yeah, but unfortunately, I have to jump on some calls right now. Thanks for tuning in, and see you on YouTube in 2 weeks. And meanwhile, me and Rong Kai will pop in other community, other social media platforms as our timetable allows us.
Thank you everyone for joining the AMA. Yeah, it's a pleasure to share my thoughts with you guys. Thank you.
Likewise. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.